Did Jesus deconstruct from religion? Let's begin by defining deconstruction, my definition, for the purpose of this video. Deconstruction, to me, is when one perceives something is amiss with what they have been taught by religion, choosing to examine and deconstruct from beliefs, traditionally held interpretation of scriptures, and the religious system that promotes them. The goal is to find freedom from fear and condemnation in the pursuit of truth and inner peace. Did Jesus deconstruct from the prevailing religious beliefs of his time, and especially the legalistic teachings of Scripture? To get our answer, we'll look at Luke 4, 1 through 13, where we learn that Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness. He was tempted by a devil, and afterwards the devil left him after there was some banter between them. It is my opinion that this passage in Luke is an allegory and cannot be understood through literal interpretation. So here's my take on the metaphors used here. We read that Jesus was led by the Spirit, something sacred, deep within him into the wilderness. More on this in a bit. I want to share that this wilderness was not a physical place outside of Jesus, but represents what took place within his head. Here, the wilderness is a metaphor for the state of mind of Jesus, reminding us of the Old Testament story of the Israelites wandering in their own wilderness, lost for 40 years, a period of time of trial. Similarly, Jesus' temptation in the wilderness reveals he too was temporarily lost for a period of time. During his struggle, we see that Jesus' wilderness, his mind, was definitely not yet like the paradise mentioned in Genesis 2, a garden that mankind was told to dress and keep. Another allegory meaning we are to work at maintaining the mind while keeping watch on it so it can become and stay a garden. I would suggest that in this Luke 4 passage, we are getting a peek at Jesus in the process of dressing and keeping his mind to reconcile contrary mental positions he found within himself. The devil, meaning false accuser, or Satan, adversary, is not an external demonic creature. If this story takes place within the mind of Jesus, as I've shared, then the devil is there too. In other words, this false accuser, his adversary, is Jesus' fading identification with the mental concept of self, including body and brain. This withering self is something we might view as being his former unawareness. His new awareness, let's call it enlightenment, is shining light into the darkness of his mind and eradicating it. We can see that his devil brought forth doubts and accusations from within his head. There's still a struggle inside Jesus. It's the clash between his former false beliefs about himself and the recognition of his deeper divinity. Something separate from thought and mental processes, something greater. And eventually, Jesus resists his devil and it flees. Jesus takes control over his mind. Jesus had awakened to the truth within that he is a son of God, that his being was much more than a body and brain, but the energy that flowed within him, his source. One might label this deeper, sacred part of us God, Spirit, divinity, energy, the universe, etc. Let's call it our core being, life. Upon realizing this understanding within himself, Jesus' faith in his religious upbringing was shaken. Why? Because deep down, he saw that we can never be disconnected from our source. There is nothing that could ever separate one from this abundant life within us, except if one remains lost in illusion, temporarily unaware of their interconnection with everything. Consequently, the religious teachings Jesus had been so familiar with were now conflicting, and something had to change. He could no longer believe or teach others the traditional religious doctrines that were dead and not alive to him. And for these false beliefs to be eradicated from his mind, I suggest that the scriptures he quoted were to help undo some of the remaining mental positions that he had formerly created in his mind while still firmly rooted within his religion. So, yes, I do think Jesus deconstructed from religion before he ever began teaching what he had discovered. And likewise, we can learn from him. We should deconstruct from anything that traps us within mental positions. And don't miss this moral lesson of Jesus' wilderness story. We too are sons and daughters of God. All of us are part of that one energy. We are not disconnected from it. That would be impossible. We are it. Everyone and everything is connected, an expression of the one life giving source. And we too can become aware of it by diving deep within ourselves. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and watch my other videos as I will continue to share more of my experiences and practices